I've been out here piddling around with this hay cutter all day. I hadn't really done any filming or anything, just been kind of piddling with it. I've had this thing for probably a year and a half now, something like that. And this thing has been setting up for probably 8 years. And so what the deal was is this thing has a aluminum pulley right here, and the aluminum pulley broke, and my friend went and bought a new aluminum pulley, put it on there. It broke again, and so he went and got another aluminum pulley, and he never messed with it anymore. He didn't bother putting it on. And what I think happened is the bushings are bad in here, and it's allowing this the hay cutter bar to tweak and put tension on. In other words, the outside belt is getting tight, the inside belt's getting loose because it's tweaking it. That's what I think's wrong with it. I have not fixed that. I wanted to get it back together and make sure that nothing's froze up. It doesn't appear to be. I've got it loose so I can kind of somewhat turn it, but I want to run it and see how it sounds and whatever before I go to the trouble of taking it all apart. Anyway, he had lost this piece here and the bolts. I went to Tractor Supply and got some bolts. I made this little bar here off of a piece of another hay cutter I got over there, and just kind of used that. A piece of all thread for a jack bolt, and I made this ring right here. I don't know if you can see, I'll turn the light on the camera. But when this thing comes from the factory, this aluminum pulley right here is not very thick. And so these bolts just go onto the aluminum pulley, which goes on the steel flange. And it seems to me there's not very much support there. And so I made this flange here out of a piece of 3/8 plate to bolt around there to give that aluminum pulley more support, because he said that that's where it broke before, is it broke the center out of the pulley. So having more support right there, definitely not going to hurt anything. I didn't see how it broke last time, but I'm assuming that it probably broke out around the bolt holes because that's the weakest point. So anyway, I got it all back together there, and I want to hook a PTO shaft up to it and see does it run. The problem is the PTO shaft that I have over here is rusted together, which is what I'm working on now, and trying to get apart. And so I've got it here tied to the front of my tractor and to the back of my Dodge over here. I've got it in 4-wheel drive, and I have drug it backwards about 3 foot so far in 4-wheel drive. And so we're going to apply some heat on this with this weed burner torch over here and see if we can heat this thing up and see if I can get it to slide apart. This shaft is not really that great. The U-joints in it are bad. They're just wore out. The needle bearing just fell out of one end. But it'll turn the hay cutter to see what I want to see before I invest any money in this thing. So that's the goal. Just want to see if I can get this thing slid apart here. as you can see, that hasn't worked very well. So I assume we're going to need some more pressure. Go find something else to tie on to, because I'm just dragging my truck back. As you see, drag it back about 6 foot. And it is in 4-wheel drive. You can see the front tire sliding. So we're going to unhook this, and we're going to go tie on to something a little more solid. Alrighty, so we got it tied on to the back of the 18-wheeler and the brakes locked down on it. So I'm going to put the tractor in 4-wheel drive, and we're going to give this thing a tug, see what breaks. Hey, we got success. We pulled it apart. Somebody cut that thing off to shorten it, and they cut it all crooked. Maybe it'll work regardless. We did manage to pull the 18-wheeler a little bit. As you can see there. But it's pretty well locked down. Pretty solid there. So we're going to let this cool off for a little bit because it's still very, very warm. And we'll get her unhooked and see what we can salvage out of the rest of this. You see this U-joint right here, no good, but it should work for a minute for testing purposes. All right guys, I want to throw this in here because I know somebody's going to say, Chase, you shouldn't be pulling on that ball like that. And I'm not saying you're wrong, it's not a good idea, but this is not the average trailer hitch that you stick in the back of your F-150 and tow your boat with. This is a solid steel forged hitch. If you look right here, it's rated at 16,000 pounds. And this ball right here is 1.25 inch shank. You see the nut on the bottom of that. And it is rated at 25,000 pounds. That's a 2 5/16, 25,000 pound gooseneck ball is what that is. So if it'll pull a 25,000 pound gooseneck trailer, is what that ball is rated for, it's pretty solid. And that's a solid steel forged drop hitch, as I say. It's pretty solid setup. If this was you know, your typical 5,000 pound rated ball with a 3/4 shank, I would say that would be a very, very bad idea to do what I did, and we would have probably broke it. So anyway, don't pull on trailer balls, especially with snatch straps or anything snatching on them, because if and when it does break, it's going to come off, and a snatch strap stores a lot more energy than a chain, and that ball is going in the opposite direction of the vehicle pulling. So if you're trying to pull somebody out and there's somebody sitting in that vehicle steering it, it's very possible this could go through the windshield, and well, you can figure out what happens from there. So it's not very safe to do that, but as I say, this is a lot heavier rated, and there was nobody sitting in the vehicle. If something happened, it would hit the back of the flatbed trailer. So anyway, do as I say, not as I do. This is the grade 43 5/16 chain that we broke. I looked it up. The braking strength on this is supposed to be 11,600 pounds braking strength. So we exceeded that, and I figured that was going to be the weakest link because that was the smallest chain I had. When you see me swap out the chain in the video, I grabbed a 3/8 grade 70 chain, which the braking strength on those are like 26,000 something, I believe. Alright guys, I don't have this thing hooked all the way up. I just got it hooked up, the PTO shaft hooked up, and I cannot get the yoke all the way up on the tractor PTO shaft because of the it's got rust and stuff in it. I can't get it on there. I had trouble getting this one here on there to lock, and so I'll probably have trouble getting it back off too. Like I say, this PTO shaft's kind of junk. It's not hooked up to the tractor, just backed up to it, but we're gonna give her a try here. All right, here we go. Well guys, at least we know it's not locked up. That's all I wanted to see. I'm not messing with it anymore. I didn't riv it up or anything. I didn't want that PTO shaft to come undone off the tractor because I didn't have it all the way up on there and locked in place where the pin goes through with the keeper zone, because it's got rust and stuff inside there. I'll mess with that stuff later. May get a PTO shaft for it if I decide to use the thing for something other. It's mainly just something to tinker with, I suppose. And anyway, so at least we know it's not locked up. It does spin. Sometimes you need a 12,000 pound slide hammer to unstick your PTO shaft. I didn't think I was going to get it undone, but we did. So I don't know, that PTO shaft's not the best in the world, but it did test what I want to test without having to spend, you know, $300 on a PTO shaft just to find out if the thing worked or not. So that's the main thing. I could put U-joints in it, pull it back off and clean the rust out of the splines and everything, and probably get it to function, but it don't have a shield or anything on it. But it would probably work. I'm not sure if I'm going to wind up keeping that hay cutter or if I'm going to sell it, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.